What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This week's guest is Jonathan Scibica. I'm super excited for you guys to watch this interview. We get into a lot about his boxing, things that we can connect on, which is cutting weight, especially if you're in a combat sport, and what he has for the future, which is super cool. And I can't wait for you guys to watch this episode. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy this. It was a great talk with the one, the only Jonathan Scibica.
Downtime in the ring. For, I would say, I would say about 14 years now I've been boxing. So I've been boxing for a very long time. But yeah, so how Town Entertainment comes into play is CCW had the Kumite, and they wanted a boxing match, kind of like the Mr. T, Roddy Piper, in WrestleMania time. So I was like, shoot, I love wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm like, absolutely, I want to do it. Now, besides that, I've been training to wrestle too. So I actually now have probably been in 5-6 months now, I would say, learning how to wrestle. So it kind of tied hand in hand, and here we are.
Yeah. So when I found you, I saw that you had shared a picture of, I think it was Gangrel, who was actually with taking a picture with the class at CCW.
Yeah.
So I was doing my research, man, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like he, maybe he's just known in the area. That's why everybody loves him. And then I saw the boxing match in the cage, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, man. Dude, it was nuts. It really was nuts. They were like, yeah, you want to do it? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And, I'm training, so I'm learning all the basics and everything like that and how to be safe and doing all that stuff. But they're like, okay, but you're going to go out and have a boxing match. And I'm just like, okay, wait a second. And I mean,
yeah,
currently I'm an undefeated boxer, and, my fights ended with knockout. So I'm like, okay, so this is wrestling, but you want me to have a boxing match with a non-boxer? I was like, I don't want to hurt him. I'm like, I like, I don't want to do that. He'd be like, oh, that's the guy that hurts everybody. That's
did not want the brawl for all to happen.
Did not at all. So, but we did really good. I had a phenomenal time. Friends and family came by, saw it. Everybody had a good time, and everybody was happy in the back. So it was cool, man.
A little bit about your history too, because as I was looking through all your stuff, man, I could tell you're a big wrestling fan, or at least you have a lot of luchador masks for some reason.
Yeah, listen, man, his name is Johnny Mascara. No, so on my downtime, so at the gym, I'm at my gym every day, every day. And the one thing that people really don't understand or realize is that a lot of actual combat fighters, MMA, bare knuckle boxers, like true to the form, to the T, bad to the bone, loves wrestling. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, and 9 times out of 10, we're not afraid to say, we love wrestling. And a lot of times we're just, you're around these boys all the time. You just start messing around and just acting like you guys are wrestlers and stuff. And I would have clients that would go on vacation and go to Mexico, and they'll come back with actual luchador masks for me just because they were like, oh, we saw this and we thought of you, coach. I was like, all my clients, they see something of wrestling, like, oh, we know coach will love that. So they bring it to me. And then, like, I don't know, it was just like one day I just, like, as I have a luchador mask on one of the posts on the ring, I just pull it out and I just start becoming a character and just start doing dumb things around the gym and stuff. So it's been fun. It's been really fun. I love it.
Like, going into that, you've had your gym, you've had Level Up going on 5 years now, and now you're trying to do, you're actually training to be a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
What made the sudden, like, why? What made the jump?
Well, so I've always loved wrestling, and wrestling has probably been my first love as a kid. Um, I would always talk about, and I'll share the pictures too about, when I was a kid, my parents would take us to the shows that they'll have in Fort Lauderdale, or even when ECW was at the War Memorial down here, you know what I mean? My dad would take me to that one, obviously. um, but like holding up signs for Razor Ramon, you know what I mean, and Shawn Michaels and stuff, like, and that's at that time. So when you're growing up, you want to be a wrestler. You don't want to be sitting behind a desk and doing stuff like that. You don't want to do that. Um, I hit a crossroads in my life where I was like, okay, well, what do I want to do? This is like right after school's done, and it's like, well, what do I really want to do? And when you're in school, you get into amateur wrestling, which I did.
Yeah.
And then the UFC was like the biggest thing at that time. So everybody was like, "Hey, I'm doing Muay Thai. Why don't you come?" And oh, they're doing jiu-jitsu there, like one of the Gracies, and you can do that, and this and another, and again, that just kind of like, okay, cool. So I started playing into that and training into that, and I was like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. But man, I mean, I want to wrestle. Like, I want to learn how to wrestle, but there really wasn't like wrestling schools around me that was close, or that I would know any of the coaches or anything like that. And meaning just like that you'll know on the top of your head, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know who that guy is. Like, he wrestled before, you know. Um, and also at the end of the day, it was cheaper to learn how to fight than it was to go into wrestling. So I just made the turn into fighting, and I ended up being really good at it, and I stuck with it. And now I'm at the position, coming up to 5 years with, me and my business partner. um, we have a little bit more of a free time that we can, delegate things, and, there's classes for different coaches and whatnot. So I don't have to be there all the time. Obviously I have my clients, have my fighters, and I train a bunch of fighters also. Um, Now I can kind of do my other side quest. So I have a good friend named Cha Cha Charlie. He was like, dude, why don't you just start wrestling? And I was like, okay, and went into it, and I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with it. I'm like getting slammed and doing all that stuff. Oh, that's like up my alley. I'm like, all right, cool. It's physical. Like, I love that. And yeah, that's where I'm at now.
It's interesting to hear. So like you said, in high school, amateur wrestling, that's what I got into. That's what got me into combat sports, but I've always been a fan of wrestling.
Mhm.
The first time you take a bump, you're like, oh, this feels different. But for you, you were already well into fighting. How did that feel different compared to what you felt before?
The feeling, I would say, really wasn't different. Now obviously now I've been really much been boxing mostly, so I haven't really spent time on my back or anything. I mean, I was into jujitsu, back into jujitsu, I would say about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I mean, I was comfortable kind of being down, but now you're getting slammed, you're flipping over, you're doing different stuff and learning, the correct way to bump. Um, I I don't know. I mean, it registers the brain like, okay, you're getting hit. So
Yeah.
you kind of know, like, okay, you're relaxed, you're calm. You get hit, you're not going to tense up. You just got to be relaxed about it, breathe through, and that's it. It's just that in the sense of just like it processing in the brain, it wasn't really different. Um, but again, it's different conditioning. It's different timing. It's um like there's the little things in that is just like really hard, and the footwork is a little different too and whatnot. Little similarities, but a little bit different too. So trying to blend stuff and also unlearn things with boxing to make my wrestling a lot better is the transition I'm trying to make right now. Also selling and stuff like that. So in boxing, we're really like just a stone cold face and whatnot. Can't show emotion, can't show pain, can't do any of that. Um, in wrestling, it's theater, it's an opera. You're telling a story. So that's where I'm at right now.
Fair, completely fair. You like you said, stone face, and now theatrics. You gotta let everybody know how you're feeling all the way in the back row. So going from a wrestling event that you were able to work and get behind the scenes and be with those guys and do all of that, how is that in the environment compared to having a fighter prepare for like bare knuckle championship, which I saw that you were a part of it, the Heart Team for, or your own boxing matches? Like, how does that feel? How is the energy different between all of those?
For fighting, it's I guess at my point right now, it's very calm, um, cracking jokes and just until it's like, okay, we got like 3 more fights until we're going out. Then it's like, boom, you're locked in. You know what I mean? And you're just kind of thinking about the way you're gonna win, the way you're gonna, you know, obviously just go out there and try to kill the other guy. And that's pretty much it. You have your team, you have 2 or 3 people who you're going to tolerate and really listen to. You don't want to be around anybody else. And you just want those 2 or 3 people around you at all times and not anybody else. And that's it. You go out there and you play, you have a good time. You do what you do best. Of course, the wrestling event, when I did it, it was, it, well, for me, it was exciting. It's like, wow, it's like I get to kind of do one of the things I've really wanted to do for such a long time, but yet it's still considered, to me, it's still considered as like a boxing match. Um, so it's like, it's kind of bittersweet, it's kind of cool, but it's like, man, like I can't wait to wrestle. Um, everybody backstage is super cool, super helpful. And for me, it's like trying to understand that too. Like not everybody's trying to kill you and whatnot. So I'm trying to go up to people, talk to them and whatnot, ask for advice and stuff, and just be very cordial, very, very nice and whatnot. Which everybody is, everybody is, they always come up to you and just be really, really nice and really helpful and just try to help with everything. So, other than that, yeah, man, I mean, it's just the mentality is the mind state is just kind of different. But man, I mean, everybody in wrestling is awesome. They're amazing.
So what made you want to open up Level Up?
So, I wasn't the person who opened up Level Up.
What?
So my business partner, who's also one of my fighters and one of my best friends, Elliot Carranza, ended up opening up the gym. Now, a little bit before that, me and her was training together at another gym. And this is at a point of time where I was just like kind of going nowhere in life. I was doing insurance. I was gaining a lot of weight because I was sitting down. I wasn't moving around. I wasn't being active. And I was just like, you know what? I need to get back into boxing. I need to lose some weight. I need to get back into it. Go into a gym with her. I met her there. And, we sparred together, and we were just cool with each other. A little bit after that, I ended up leaving that gym, but also finding out that she opened up her own gym. So I was like, hey, how much is it to kind of join your gym so I could just come and hit the bags, and whatever. And she was like, would you be interested in maybe teaching a couple classes? I was like, well, when I first started boxing, like just strictly boxing, I was teaching classes at one of my other old gyms. And I loved it. And then I started teaching the youth program. And then I got really close to the youth, to like the kids and a lot of the people there. And then the gym closed down, and that literally destroyed me, destroyed my heart, like my passion. Like I felt like, I don't know, it was a part of me that was missing, kind of just heartbroken. So I was just like, I really don't want to, because I really don't want to put myself in a position like that again. Um, but then I was just like, whatever, I'll try it. And that was it. Little by little, I started teaching the classes. Everybody loved it. And classes tend to grow. And then she needed a coach. She was looking for a coach, a head coach. And she was going to leave her coach. And I was like, hey, listen, I'll step in and I'll coach you or corner you, but, I'll just do this one. And then one amateur fight ended up being couple more amateur fights, and now she just completed her 10th pro bout. Now we're in a contention. She's like number 3 in the world in her division. Yeah, so it's like this is where we're at now. So it's pretty cool, man. It's you really never plan for things. Things just tend to happen. Um, and Level Up was just something like that. She made me co-owner maybe like a year and a half, like a year and a half in, and then that's it. It's I dropped everything else for her, and that's been my baby.
It's cool, like getting to hear that you're a wrestler, you're your own solo boxer, you're a coach. Even with what you just talked about, like how does that feel? You're helping somebody train, and now they're reaching this monumental point, and you're like, oh shit, because a lot of fighters, I want to preference this, you guys are really laid back and calm.
Yeah.
Wrestlers have a tough time trying to turn off the gimmick. You guys are just always calm, which I love having conversations like this, because you guys are just like, all right, cool. But yeah, how does that feel? Do you ever just look back and you're like, damn, this is a weird moment in my life?
Right now, yeah, like I know that's it's kind of weird. But this really all stemmed from somebody saying I couldn't do it all. It was somebody who said I couldn't coach and box at the same time. Once I heard that was like, okay, watch me. And then as long as my team supported me, I was able to come back, have that fight, and be successful at it, and then also have another fight. My fighters, my team, they're the ones that say, we got your back, we support you, and they always do. And then wrestling came along, and it's like, okay, now I have another thing I want to do. And they're like, you're crazy for it, but we support you. And it's just one of those things where you always have to have such a good and strong team around you. Everybody kind of has their things and their things that they do in life and whatnot. And myself is like, man, I'm not perfect. Everybody, I am not perfect at all, but as long as you have that team, man, you really can do anything. So it's such a cool feeling, man. It's cool to know that, hey, I can be a help of somebody, I can coach somebody, I can help somebody, I can lead them into battle, I can show them things, I can make them accomplish their goals, and also do the thing that I love, which was competing. And also get into something now which I've always wanted to do for my whole life. It's pretty cool, man.
So I looked at like your weight division, and I don't know the different weight divisions for boxing compared to MMA, compared to amateur wrestling, all of that. What is super middle?
So super middle means that I just decided that I'm too old now, that I want to cut too much weight, and I'm just going to be happier where I'm at.
Yes, let this man cook.
Let's start on having coach weight. No, super middle is like 170, 175.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude. Mind you, I'm a little guy. I should be fighting like at 140, 150. Let's just put it to you that way. If you were to see the clips of my actual boxing match, the guy was massive. Like, he was tall and whatnot, but I love that. I love fighting bigger guys. I love being the littler person. To me, it's a lot easier. So I've always been the guy where it's like, okay, well, as a coach, I'm walking around 195 maybe, and because I love food, I love sushi, I love eating, dude. When you've been cutting weight your whole life, from like high school, like from doing wrestling, like amateur wrestling, to like, going to amateur boxing and you're always week by week cutting weight. Once you get older, you're just like, man, I'm going to eat. I'm going to live my life. So then I was just like, listen, I think I could drop 20 pounds and I'll fight at 170 and we'll just have a go at that, you know? That's pretty much it, man. I was super middleweight and go out there and just have fun and do my thing. And thank God, you know, just still winning. So, yeah.
I've had that conversation with my partner. So she was asking like, because I made the podcast more friendly for all combat sports. I want everybody in combat sports to be able to come on here and just relax and just have a conversation. She was like, do you think you could ever cut weight again? And I looked at her and I said, that was the worst time in my life.
Yeah. It's definitely rough, man. It's a big mental game too, man. You really get to like figure out what type of person, what type of human you really are. Even like when you're low on calories and stuff, and just how you react and snap to people, you're just like, all right, I'm being a douche. I need to pull it back. Yeah, like my girl, like whew, when I was kind of waiting my last one, the poor girl, I put her through a lot, and yeah, it's not fun.
Right after the fight, you're like, I love you.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please
didn't
forgive me. I got you flowers, you know?
Oh yeah, man. No, this is cool, man. Like to see that you're expanding all over. I'm excited to see your debut. I can't wait to see you get to see what Tony will post for you, or if I follow if I see like you're on the poster for like CCW. I'm super excited. I can't wait, man. Do you have any kind of ideas on what your presentation is gonna be, or are you still just like wanting to get the basics down first?
Presentation wise, not necessarily, no.
Like gimmick?
I mean, I'm a boxer, but you know, do you really want to be another gimmicky person and be like, oh, he's a fighter? You know, we've had so many of those now, you know? Everybody, like the Ronda Rouseys, the Riddle, like we have that already. You know, we get it, you know. Obviously a lot of them are like mixed martial arts. I would be just a really boxer type person. So a lot of myself would mostly be strikes and stuff. But again, I don't want to be limited. So, you know, I want to be able to chain wrestle and to do stuff like that. You know, some of my favorite wrestlers are like, you know, like a Dane Malenko. But then you have people who are slapping suplexes, like different type of suplexes like Taz. You know, you love that stuff, you know, and be as fluid like as an Eddie Guerrero, you know, like I want to do that type of stuff. You know, why can't I do that stuff, you know? So
Yeah.
That's just kind of like where my mind is. So I don't know, you know, whenever my coach says I'm ready to go, then, you know, we'll just make things happen, and little by little, day by day, you know, just trying to figure out who I am as a wrestler.
And like your backing too is intense. Like you said, you have a good team around you, like Cha Cha Charlie, who has been all over the indies and always making a name for himself. So you're surrounded by a great group of people. How often do you think you're going to want to wrestle?
As much as they allow me to, honestly. You know, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, even if like I walk like everybody knows, like it's not a secret. Like you're going to have bad matches.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I'm gonna be one of those guys who are like, I need to get back out there right away. I'm not gonna sit there and cry about it and whatnot. Like, no, okay, let me do it again, fix it, and keep moving forward. So it's like, you know, they want to keep putting me out there. I'm going to keep going out there, and I'm going to keep doing the best I can and learn and grow from that. And that's what I look forward to. Really, just contributing to the team and to the company and whatnot, and doing what I want to do. You know, which is wrestle. That's just where my head is.
So you want your schedule to where it's like all of 1 month is wrestling as you're preparing for a boxing match, or are you just done with having more fights for boxing?
No, so possibly I should be fighting maybe in November.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I have possibly I would say, you know, we're still in talks with that. I have a fighter who's fighting in October. And then I have my girls thing, which is in the middle of November, but at the beginning of November, there's a card that I can possibly fight on. So even I was supposed to fight in this October card. I was still training, which I do now. I train, I spar, I do hard sparring rounds and everything like that. I'm training boxing 4 or 5 times a week. I would say 5 times a week. Sometimes six, because we'll all get together on a Saturday and whatnot too. And I'll wrestle. I'll wrestle on those days too. I'll box and I'll do 2, 3 times a week with wrestling. Um, as long as I don't injure myself or do anything too out of the ordinary, I'm pretty much good. A lot of recovery, a lot of you know sleep. I take my naps, and just making sure eating good and whatnot. Just as long as I'm taking care of my body, I feel like I can kind of do everything. Like, why shouldn't I not be able to do everything? You know? So I box, I train, I coach, and I do my thing, and then I still wrestle too. I still make my classes and whatnot. Like ideally, like what I think would probably be the coolest thing, which I probably won't even tell each and or. Let's say if like wrestling, there was a wrestling match on a Friday or a Sunday, and then a boxing match on that Saturday, I wouldn't tell anybody. I would just wrestle and then go and box my match the next day, not say a word to anybody. To me, that's like victory in my head. I think that would be cool.
That's very doable, especially with how like busy the indies are. It'll happen. It'll happen a lot sooner than you think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't plan on continuously competing for boxing. At the end of the day, I'll have maybe a couple more fights, but honestly, for me, just competing, that's achieving one of my goals. I don't see myself becoming a champion or anything like that. Not at all. Where my mindset with fighting and boxing is for my fighters. My fighters are where I think they are the best fighters in the world. Nobody can tell me anything different. All my fighters are, currently pretty much the best in their division. Britain Hart, who you talked about, the bare knuckle, she's a 4-time bare knuckle champion, still the current champion, now being heavily endorsed by Conor McGregor, who is now co-owning BKFC. And also Elia Carranza, who's my business partner, who's top 3 in her weight class in the world, which you would definitely be hearing that she will be carrying world champions sooner than later. I have another kid who have had from all his amateurs. Now he's competing in October, still undefeated. We're going after 3-0. With a good fight that's going to happen, against a tough opponent. So it's exciting, man. That's for champions of, that type of stuff. It's for my fighters. Wrestling, that's going to be my thing. Wrestling is achieving all that stuff, being able to make some towns and being able to compete in front of different crowds and do stuff like that. That just seems like amazing. It just seems awesome. So that's what I'm heading forward to.
Well, I hope we get to see you out here in New Mexico sometime soon.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
For our promotions. I hope we get to see you out here sometime soon.
Yeah. So you guys got some good food out there too. So
if you like hot food, man, we got you.
I love hot food.
With Britain Hart, I can't wait to have a conversation with her. I got to do my research into her too. I reached out to her. She seems like she is scary, but she also seems like she's a very sweet person, and that's just how you guys are as fighters. Overall. Good on you, coach. That's the best I could say is good on you, man, for just what you've been able to accomplish. This talk has been very fun. As we begin to wind down, where can everybody find your socials?
I just say everybody just to go to my Instagram, Johnny Freaking Thunder. Everything's on there. That's pretty much where I post everything. Facebook, I really don't do much on Facebook or anything like that. So Instagram, just if you want to get me, you can get me there. And that's it, really. I post everything there. If you guys want to see where I'm at, if I'm doing 5-year anniversary. That's going to happen this coming week. We're hosting a huge sparring sessions and vendors and all that stuff at that time. And then me going to all the shows for CCW, supporting them, learning. And then, you know, whenever they give me the green light to wrestle, I'll be doing that. So that's pretty much it.
And that's where I'm excited. That's why where I'm not going to take too much more of your time, because when you do have your green light, I want to bring you back on and I want to hear how your first match went. Even if you think it was the worst match, because it's the first, I want to hear everything about it, man, because it's going to be awesome, dude.
No, for sure. No, definitely. I have no problem. I'm pretty much an open book on any good or bad. So I'm for sure super down.
I can't wait. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this episode. We had Johnny Scibica.
Scibica.
Scibica. Damn it. Scibica. We had Johnny Scibica here, and we will see each and every one of you in the next video.